I'm back.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purpose, such as criticism, commenting, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, education, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
Get to work!
I think we all know what this was. And here we are again. And how many more times will we be in this exact spot if something doesn't change? Joining me now is Rich Lowry, editor-in-chief of National Review. And Rich, like most of our guest lineup right now, we were together the last time. Like, how many times are you and I going to get together about breaking news that President Trump was almost assassinated? But yet here we are.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I was talking to some folks last night at an event. We're talking about the campaign, and someone was saying it's like a TV show. And I was kind of joking. Well, if the writers are in the TV show trying to do the next twist, they're probably going to say we can't do an attempted assassination again. That was yesterday, and here it is. I mean, the only thing like it in American history, Gerald Ford, two very serious attempts within, I think, about 17 days in the 70s. One of them came within 5 inches, which used to be a high standard for closeness. Donald Trump obviously exceeded that in the first assassination attempt. But after that, you have to go to Lincoln. I mean, they're very serious, continuous threats against his life. And we was asked about this once. He said, there's nothing like getting used to it. And that's the way Donald Trump might feel now. But he shouldn't. There's no way, given the seriousness of the first one, that anyone should be within any miles of him a potential threat. And the idea that someone could just hang out at a golf course and be within 400 yards of the former president with a rifle is just shocking and totally unacceptable. And once again, we have ordinary Americans stepping up and pointing out these threats. They were saying it the first time around. They've been heated initially in a decent time. The first one never would have happened. We've had the spectator alive. We wouldn't have the former president nearly killed. This thing too, we have to be extremely grateful, as you've pointed out earlier, to this guy who tracked them and gave the license plate to the cops and the description of the car of the cops. But this is just so wrong. We could be inches away from a tragedy that will change American history. Obviously, be a man would be killed and his family would be devastated forevermore, and it would derange American politics. We talked about this the first time around. We talk about these assassinations decades and decades later and still litigating them and arguing about them. So this cannot happen. It cannot happen. And let's hope finally now they'll get the message. But what's the excuse for not getting it the first time around?
Yeah, they already had a warning, as if they needed one, that there are dangerous lunatics in this country, and they're really focused on Donald Trump. They already had the warning. They got their mulligan. Right. A man was killed during their first mulligan, and Donald Trump got shot in the head. Thank God, just an ear, so he was fine. But here we are again 2 months later. I mean, the amount of negligence that would be required in order for this to happen again is just stunning. Yeah. They got complacent again. Maybe you could even understand, 10 years later, they got complacent about protecting Trump, 10 years post-presidency at the golf course. 2 months later, when every day we get another warning about how the Iranians want to kill him. I mean, it's inexcusable. So I want to shift, though, because there's a lot of politics to talk to you about around this, Rich. We have yet to hear anything from the sitting president of the United States. My team will check me on this, but as of half an hour ago, we hadn't. The sitting president of the United States, Joe Biden, has said nothing. Vice President Kamala Harris issued a statement that reads as follows. I have been briefed on reports of gunshots fired near former President Donald Trump and his property in Florida, and I am glad he is safe. Violence has no place in America. Yeah, that is perfectly on brand.
Yeah, it's just boilerplate, and it's outrageous. We haven't heard from President Biden, and this will be, I fear, by noon tomorrow. This will be old news, right? The first one that nearly killed him, a millimeter or two, was absorbed and kind of forgotten within 2 weeks or so, and this will go away even faster because he wasn't hit. That's the standard now. If he's nearly hit in the head, okay, maybe it's news. But if the guy was just hundreds of yards away, if it weren't for alert Secret Service agents seeing the muzzle poking through a chain link fence, and this bystander pointing him out. It's not up to the standards of the first attempted assassination. So I just fear it won't be a big deal. And can you imagine? People pointed this out on Twitter. Barack Obama had a very serious assassination attempt twice within 2 months. Once getting hit, or Kamala Harris, everyone's hair would be on fire, and it's not going to happen this time. They're going to ignore it. They'll cover it a little bit here in the morning, and I think it goes away. Now, the one caveat I would say to that is they can't black box the motivation, right? Whether they're hiding it or whether we just can't know, like they did with the first guy, immediately got neutralized, too late, but got neutralized very quickly. This guy they have, so we will learn more about him, his background, and his motive. Yeah, I mean, whatever the tweets show, he showed up at the golf course ready to shoot Donald Trump. So I think we're pretty clear he was not a Donald Trump supporter. This is the kind of conversation we had to have after the first shooter took shots at Donald Trump. I should say that
JD Vance has issued a statement as well. I am awash in text from my producer, so let's stand by and I will get it for you. But all we've heard from, for example, former President Barack Obama, who's tweeting out about other stuff now. I mean, he's like casually tweeting about nonsense. Was he retweeted that benign anodyne Kamala Harris tweet. That's it. Right. So we have nothing from Joe Biden, and we have a retweet from Barack Obama. And now here we have JD Vance saying, I'm glad President Trump is safe. I spoke to him before the news was public, and he was amazingly in good spirits. Still much we don't know, but I'll be hugging my kids extra tight tonight and saying a prayer of gratitude. Rich, stand by just a couple of minutes, please. Dave Ehrenberg, who is the Palm Beach County DA, is with us now. He's a frequent guest of the program, and you saw him if you watched that presser of the law enforcement officials. He's here with us now and able to speak about this. Dave, are you with me?
Megyn? Overwhelming grief. I remember the women's marches across the country.
For
Americans through the mismanagement of a pandemic. I didn't imagine on that morning that he would incite so much hate and division in this nation that white nationalists would proudly march in the streets and his followers would try to overthrow my government. I couldn't know he would appoint Supreme Court justices who would end my rights to my own healthcare decisions, thus ensuring my daughters have less rights than their grandmothers had. I didn't know what he was capable of on that day.
You get it. You get the picture. Yeah. It goes on from there. These guys are absolutely just gross.
Yeah, they're grifters on top of everything else. So look, clearly a common sense says the level of rhetoric and heat they've created around Donald Trump has played some role in this murderous enmity we've seen on the part of these two would-be assassins. Although it's very difficult to connect any one thing anyone says to these acts. The reason why I think they shouldn't say he's an existential threat to democracy is it's not true. It's not true. If he loses, he'll complain about it. He'll say it's stolen, but he's not president of the United States. He'll have fewer buttons to push than he did last time. Nothing's going to happen. And if he's elected, he might complain he should have been elected by a bigger margin, but it's not like he's going to try to overthrow the election he won. Actually, the other side will be the one potentially trying to block his ascension to the presidency, and they'll come up with some other Russiagate way to try to undermine his legitimacy, and then maybe unrest in the streets. And this is the thing: is even if they're not responsible directly, any one person who's saying the stuff about Donald Trump, they all tell us how important norms are. And this is the worst norm possibly you can trespass against, right? Attempting to assassinate a political candidate for a candidate for president of the United States of America. And the level of outrage is like nothing. They're more outraged by the cats and dogs thing he said about Springfield, Ohio, than they are about people trying to kill him.
Exactly right. And now, so you've got other lunatics on the left. I mean, I'll give you you remember Alexander Vindman? He testified
his wife,
at the first Trump. Yeah. So his wife comes out moments after this news breaks, Rachel Vindman, and tweets, "No ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon." And then when she got all sorts of blowback, she tweeted, "Sorry, you're triggered." A bunch of laughing emojis. I mean, no, I'm not. I don't care a little bit. Hand heart emoji. She couldn't care less. Yeah, we can tell. That's quite obvious. And then, all right, that's fine. That's some no name nobody's ever heard of. But would you listen to NBC Nightly News, where on a Sunday, they brought in Lester Holt to handle the special coverage. And this was his framing of today's news.
Today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail itself. Mr. Trump, his running mate J.D. Vance continue to make baseless claims about Haitian immigrants in Ohio. This weekend, there were new bomb threats in that town. Our Maggie Vespa is in Columbus, Ohio, with more.
Oh my God, Rich. It comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric from Trump and Vance. Yeah. We just saw this happen on MSNBC. Now it happens on NBC with Lester Holt.
It's blaming the victim. And I was actually just an hour or two talking to a Republican operative. Rich, I wouldn't be surprised if for the next 24 hours someone on MSNBC blames Trump. And then I checked my Twitter. I was driving in the car when I talked to him. And then when I got to a spot where I could check Twitter, there it was. It had already happened on MSNBC. So it's just perverse. And it's fine if you want to say.
And that's not it. That's not it. Lindsay Davis, obviously still. Her hands are still dirty from Tuesday night's debacle of a debate. She brought in to cover ABC's Nightly News in the wake of her huge debate victory, which I guarantee you is how ABC...
That Haitian immigrants have been eating pets.
Okay. Got to move on to the pet story, as our number two. That's gonna, we'll do 2 minutes on Trump. And by the way, they're treating this as a threat? Treating it? A guy with an AK-47 style rifle, 300 feet away, pointing it down. Yeah, it's a threat. And then he fired it for Secret Service. Yeah, you can go ahead and remove the qualifying language.
Yeah, so I'm sure it pained them to not have the Springfield thing, the top story. And that's the other thing, going back to Rachel Vindman, an innocent man was killed, right? It wasn't just that a presidential candidate was grazed in the ear and a couple millimeters away from having his brain blown out on live television. Someone was killed, right? So to have an offhand attitude about that, it's appalling. And look, if they want to say that Trump and J.D. Vance are responsible for some psychopath making threats against government authorities in Springfield, Ohio, then they have to blame their own side for this too. Be consistent about which is it? Does heated rhetoric cause violence or doesn't it, right? But you see in those segments, they'll have entirely different attitudes within minutes. minutes about the effect of rhetoric. And she, if the rules were at all fair, as we discussed the night after the debate, she would have at least asked Kamala Harris, well, you know what, the man standing 5 feet from you was almost killed. And some people think, your rhetoric, your side's rhetoric was responsible. What do you make of that, right? But wouldn't even occur to her to ask that. And when Trump brought up the assassination attempt, of course, it just dropped like a lead balloon and everyone moved on.
They moved on. They had no interest in discussing it. Just this week, Melania Trump, who's coming out with a book and is doing minimal promo on it, released a video statement in which she said the following, Rich. Listen to this.
The attempt to end my husband's life.
Segment with Elie Mystal, literally the two most racist people on television. Truly, you couldn't find two more racist people on television. It happened.
I'm not doing this.
I need one. My makeup.
Happened, I think on Friday, where he said the reason his disgusting, deplorable fans don't abandon him is because they're equally disgusting. So it goes beyond Donald Trump. It's everyone. It's all Republicans. Yep. And that's why they have no empathy for Melania, the kids, or anyone who tonight are probably feeling really scared about what's next.
Yeah. So once you've accepted the idea that he is the equivalent of an American Adolf Hitler, then the implication is, one, all his supporters are equally morally blameworthy. They're the equivalent of brown shirts, and violence is acceptable or understandable, at least, to try to stop him, right? So, but the premise is flawed and wrong and perverse. But then you work out the logic, and you get this cruelty and heartlessness.
I don't know what the solution to this is. I mean, other than independent media, I just like the fact that NBC and Lester Holt chose to style the story in the way they did on the night of the attempted assassination. It just speaks volumes. Not to mention the trouble that ABC is in following that debate. I don't think there's any saving them. I think they reaffirm that to us every day, and I think it's sad. I think it is part of the problem because they've become the open messengers for this crap, cutting off Trump when he did try to talk about his assassination attempt, not raising the assassination attempt and what it means for this country and about rhetoric. And in the first instance, not to mention not asking about Joe Biden's mental deficiencies, but when we could go on for an hour about how they fell down in the job. They're part of it. They're actively working now, Rich, to get her elected and to coalesce around the narrative about how dangerous he is. And having worked inside that organization, NBC News, I can tell you that's exactly what they believe.
Yeah. They're all basically at the end of the day the same people. Democratic elites and media elites, they go to the same party, they go to the same places in the Hamptons, they share the same assumptions, they have the same attitudes, especially about social and cultural issues. They are the same people. And it's just a fundamentally corrupt institution. Maybe decades ago, I used to think maybe if we bird dog them enough and call them out enough and counter their narratives with alternative reporting enough, they'll improve. But they haven't in the least. They've only gotten worse. And it's just, there's no sense even hoping for something better at this point.
I can't get over the fact that our president hasn't said anything. The former president retweeted and didn't individually say anything, not even a generic statement about political violence. Michelle Obama, who was so upset about the term black jobs, she said nothing. By the way, Biden used that term too. She didn't tweet a thing, nothing. She's only outraged when Donald Trump does it. And she has absolutely no empathy in her heart for Donald Trump when he almost gets shot and his family. How about a word from her to Melania Trump? You're not going to get it. These are the people who want to paint themselves as our moral betters, as the nice ones, as the kind ones. That was actually Kamala Harris's pitch. Right? That was her pitch in the debate. And when she sat down with that local Philadelphia anchor, she's the nice one. And people are ready for unity, but they can't muster any genuine statements of empathy for the Trumps when, once again, his life is almost taken. It's just such a facade, Rich.
Yeah, totally. And if the progression goes the way it has with this one, if there's a third assassination attempt, they'll take it even less seriously. Right? Obviously, they take it more seriously. But the standard is apparently has to be hit by the bullet for it to be big news.
Yes.
So, never would have I thought there'd be some rule. They've created Trump rules for everything, where they're new standards. But I never would have expected that assassination attempts would fall under Trump rules, where if it happens to him, it's not a big deal and it's not a big news story. But that's the way they're handling it. And again, basic decency, basic respect for our institutions and people's faith in our politics says you should be outraged by this, such that if you're the sitting president of the United States, even if you don't want to win, even if you hate them, you tweet or you go out and make a statement or you give a speech in the Oval Office about how wrong this is. And they kind of mustered that briefly the first time around, but apparently can't be bothered this time.
And maybe come up with a kind word for Donald Trump at this time. Maybe say he's a dad, he's a husband, he's a grandpa, and we really need to lower the temperature, not just in general, but on our side about this man. That's what he should say. But he's nowhere to be found. We have no idea where Joe Biden even is. He's probably asleep. It's 7:30. We haven't seen him publicly in really more than a ceremonial role recently. He's been on vacation for almost all of the past.
Now y'all want sympathy. Now y'all want sympathy. Okay, we'll give you some sympathy. People get shot at every day, B. He ain't get hit, right? That means how y'all tell it? God was watching over him, right? Let God sort it out. Who cares? Y'all ready to go look up somebody's history when they're black to discredit the fact that they come outside and tell you what's going on outside? We ain't get no sympathy then. Hell, when them white boys be doing some dumb shit, at least us, the melanated folk, at least we say, you know what? Prayers to the victim and their family. Even if they're an asshole, the family don't deserve that. We take it by case basis. You people love to lump everybody in now. Now when your man gets shot at, not once but twice, now you want us to feel sympathy? Yeah, you can hold your own nuts. This is life. This is what you tell black folks that we go through all the time, right? Remember when Felicity Huffman said, now when the FBI ran up in my house, I understand what black and brown people go through. Okay, your man got shot at while he was on the golf course. Okay, that we attribute that to white people now. White people, you gotta look out when you about to go yell 4. You might get a bullet by your head. Gotta watch that out. When you putting, you gotta have 12, 3, 6, 9. What's that term? New normal. It's okay.
Get to work. Past 10 weeks. And I have no idea whether he's even competent to come out, and do it. We did find the Ellie Mistal appearance on Joy Reid. Here it is.
The way he desecrated Arlington National Cemetery would be career-ending for a normal politician. His constant lies. But even this piece about saying, well, my building was the tallest until, they brought down the World Trade Center. Now it's the second tallest. Everything he does is despicable.
The reason why it doesn't end his career is because his supporters are just as despicable, because his supporters are just as ungenerous and have just as little compassion and empathy for others. It never hurts Trump when he takes these crass and classless actions.
Two sides of the same coin.
It's because his supporters think that being crass and classless is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, and they also, he hates the people they hate.
This guy's talking about crass
lower.
being cool. For obviously zero self-awareness. And this is the key thing too. After the first assassination attempt, they said we need to bring down our rhetoric. And Biden, he seems committed to that to himself for like 36 hours or so at least. But if you want to bring down the temperature, you got to do it yourself. Policing your own side is more important than anything you say about the other side's rhetoric, right? Because some people actually take him seriously. That's why he's on MSNBC. And if you actually told progressives, they're human beings too. They're Americans too. We should have respect for them. And we should be outraged if someone tries to commit physical violence against them. Maybe, makes a little bit of a difference, but they can't bring themselves to do it.
By the way, regarding that Trump saying that his tower was the smallest in New York City after the World Trade Center fell, if you listen to the interview from that day, he wasn't bragging. He was kind of stating it to give context about the World Trade Center history during a 10-minute interview that day.
Total misrepresentation.
A long 17-minute exchange about what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. And at the end of it, after saying he'd heard from his constituents, yes, dogs and whatever, cats, pets, whatever, the whole thing, he's saying, this is what they're telling me. She refused to accept that, blah, 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 blah. Finally, he said something to the effect of, look, if we have to create stories in order to bring attention to what's happening, the media, he admits they made it up. Right, as opposed to, and if you listen to the full clip, he says, by drawing attention to what's happening on the ground, it's just, as this line goes online, you don't hate the media enough. Go ahead.
You remember Alternative Facts with Kellyanne? They did the same thing. She wasn't saying you make up fictions and pretend they're facts. You bring other facts to bear in the debate that are being ignored. And that's what he was saying. And I think it was in that interview where Dana Bash says, the police have gone through 11 months of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking geese from ponds, only to complain about Haitian migrants taking geese, calling to complain about Haitian migrants. Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking geese, complain about Haitian migrants taking to complain about Haitian migrants taking Haitian calling to complain about Haitian
deal with English, we deal with Outlish. Yeah, because English you speak in, and I speak out.
Migrants to complain about Haitian migrants taking about Haitian migrants. To complain about Haitian migrants taking geese from ponds. Only 2 calls. And I think one lesson in this whole story, people don't care about geese. People really hate geese. Haitian migrant found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian
I'm pretty good at English. I think we're all pretty good at English. We don't mistake an N with an M. N doesn't sound like me. Or in this case, they said he was trying to say migrants. It don't sound like my. But go ahead, MAGA, tell me that he didn't say it. Okay. All right. He got crossed up. It was his words. It wasn't like this is just like the white woman who said nakers when Kobe died. Yeah, now this is what we're doing again. This is just 4 years again. He got crossed up. You caping for him. He got crossed up. Nobody was arguing with him. He was saying his words. Nobody was interrupting him. He said it. But of course, white supremacy gotta cover white supremacy. I began to mispronounce the word migrants and caught myself halfway. How does my sound like n? And everybody called you on it. Fight anti-white racism. Your case is being made. Migrants. Shout out the island girl. Migrants. All right. Everybody heard you say it. Then you run outside talking about somehow you didn't say it. Okay. Exactly. You might as well just own it.
Ponds. Only 2 complain about Haitian migrants taking geese from ponds. Only 2 calls. And I think one lesson in this whole story, people don't care about geese. People really hate geese. They all things considered, yeah. I think people would prefer Haitian migrants to come and take the geese off the golf course, right? So it's pets, yeah. It's the cats and dogs has become the standard. Geese clearly don't matter.
I mean, I read online they're protected in Ohio, so like you kind of should care about whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Well, wouldn't you like to know where he works at Reparations Nation? He works for the racist ass National Review. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Everybody picked it up. So we all heard something wrong, right? It's our lying ears. The Democrats ruined our hearing abilities. The National Review. Hey, National Review. You wanna talk to us one time and explain? Would you like to explain this? Woke culture. Woke. An outrage mob over Daniel Penny, even though everybody saw the damn video. No, no, people told him about himself. He over there caping talking about he ain't say it. We'll show it again. See, it's right here. He said he ain't say it. We'll blow it up for the family. He said he didn't say it. We got it wrong. You caught yourself halfway through. You already said the word, sir. Like I said, I'd rather you own it. You even got black conservatives calling you out. You know, they keep it quiet. Most of them. I'm waiting to see which one comes outside first and says he didn't say it. Oh, what is this? The case for nationalism, how it made us powerful, united, and free. Huh? There you go. Nigger. But that'd be okay. I mean, that's fine if they say it. Cool, because here's the thing. Not now one of them would say it to us in public. Yeah, I'm talking to you black conservatives, just to bring y'all into the fold a little bit. None of you punks would say the N-word in front of one of us. But there you go. Yeah. This is who they're taking. This is who conservatives are taking their cues from. You see the title? Lowry got it wrong on America's history of slavery and racism. They got it wrong. The flawed case for American nationalism. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're not a racist, huh? There you go. There you go. He ain't a racist, though. Discriminate less. Syndicated columnist. Now, let's see if the Coastal Courier will get rid of him. Probably not. But there you go. Because I love how he's highlighting MIT, but we also highlighted that every school went down, every demographic went down. Why you ain't going at the Department of Education? Why you ain't going at all them schools? Look, now the MIT admissions office, they're the racists. Here we go. Well, the affirmative action regime that the Supreme Court ruled against last year was working to keep out meritorious Asian American applicants. It's the latter, of course. But he ain't no race. He didn't say what we heard. He didn't do that. Nah, he's just a good old white man. Okay. No, I know that's not the link. I want y'all to read that. We can, if you would like the link for the Kelly interview, yeah, here's the link. We'll put it in there. We'll put it in there. This is MAGA. How long ago was this broadcast? Wouldn't you like to know? There you go. Yesterday. Of course they did. Of course she did. She couldn't even take a day off. It's a Sunday. She couldn't take a day off. At least somebody finally said something. But of course, it was a Clavin in here. But okay. Rob Smith knows better. But it's okay. It's okay. We want everybody to say what they feel. We need to know how to deal with everybody because everybody ain't for us. Everybody ain't our friend. It's okay, Rich. Now you got your name associated with the election. If Trump loses, they're going to bring you up. MAGA, I done told y'all, and I told your boss, he needs to disavow y'all and restart it. He should have did that a year ago. He didn't want to do it. MAGA, you know how he loved to run around and say that Mexico ain't sending the best and their brightest? MAGA ain't recruiting the best and the brightest. You got a whole bunch of felons, dropouts, and a-holes. I'll repeat that again. You got Griff Central Station in the middle of MAGA-ville. Anytime somebody shows up in Griff Central Station, they see a whole bunch of idiots outside with cash ready to go fleece. It's like a thief's paradise. And they just run right over, they go to the nearest gift shop, buy a red hat, and take your money. You stupid asses had Miami in your back pocket. And you let your man run outside, and you let your pundits run outside and start talking about them Haitians. Now you mobilize them Haitians. You mobilize Haitians in Florida. It's just gonna be funny as hell, family. When the night of the election, if Florida goes blue, I'm gonna yell out. I swear to God, I will yell this out. The Zoe Pounders cost MAGA the election. I will say that shit. Oh, I heard about it. Matt Walsh out there talking about we got to blame black people for NASA now. That's the new thing. Oh, you heard me correctly. He said that. NASA is DEI and NASA got their problems because of black people. Okay, dude. All right, tell us how you really feel. Okay. And all you melanated Negroes who sitting up there co-signing what people like Matt Walsh and this Rich Lowry be saying, don't worry, keep it up. Y'all ain't got 6 more weeks. You watch. You watch. You better hope that God Trump wins, because if he loses, all y'all gonna get called the same word he just tried to say, and they said that he didn't say it. They're blaming us for Boeing's troubles. Boeing's troubles. Like we are the ones making the planes. Okay. Y'all know what the problems are, but y'all won't fix it. You just gonna blame somebody else. You heard me correctly, Miss Nisi. Yes, you did. White folk are running outside blaming black people for Boeing's troubles. They blamed us for the plane crash the plane collisions at Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson Airport last week. They're blaming us for that. Like we have something to do with that. No, Tammy, he means the actual black people today. He blamed us for that. He back to bringing up about DEI. Oh, God. Like they're so base now. They're trying to prove that the moon landing was faked. Okay, great. It was faked. How does that help you in life? Oh. Okay. The government admits that the moon landing was faked. How does that help you? What, you're going to run around now and say that you can't trust the government? Well, la-di-da. You had a whole subsector of people to tell you that for the last 80 years, and you didn't want to listen. Wonderful that he got arrested. Okay, it is what it is. Yeah. It was black people's fault that Alaska Airlines door came off. It was our fault. even though they fired the people who did it, they weren't black. But okay, all right. But he didn't say the word. Gotta protect them. All right, so he had an. All right, so Diddy had an indictment and they arrested him. All right, good. He'll have his day in court, but he can prove himself. Don P, I've peeped out a lot of things. Some things I can't say here, but you know. Well, Daily Wire is starting to lose money too, so they might not even be around next year. Again, that's another entity that's better hopes that Trump wins. I keep telling you, you folk ain't gonna want to hear no more complaining. Oh, Tammy, I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually going to do a separate live on that. I might as well just, you know what? Nah, I'm going to save that live because now she pissed off the Jews. Now she's pissed off white conservatives. I'm going to save that because that one's good. That one's good. And we actually have to listen to her show to get the full context. Maybe I'll do that one tomorrow. I'll push the brick stuff down till Thursday. So I get to go in a little late. I'll push that Thursday. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about Candace pissing off white conservatives. She's losing all her base, and I like it. I like it a lot. This is why we say integrity is paramount to doing this content creation. Because now you even got white people saying out there they don't like how she switched up. Even though there was a subsector of people that told you that she was going to do this, but you know, y'all didn't care because how she said it, being anti-black and anti-LGBTQ, well, we'll keep them out of it separate because that's a whole nother bag of words. But to be anti-black was not only allowed, but it was encouraged. Correct, GDS. Ben Shapiro's starting to lose his support. Because why? Because of the big bad Jews. Nasty work. Maybe they're finally figuring out that they got to clean up their grifter population. But nah, they got to, MAGA, you got to stick with them for another 6 weeks. It's okay. Y'all can infight on November 6th. Come on, be friends for 6 more weeks, please. We need the content. Don't condemn Lauren Chen just yet. Let her ride for another 6 weeks. Then you can fully turn on her. Look, let me show you something. You see how it pays to have a white husband? I'm finna show you something. In case of Lauren Chen, I'm finna show you something. This is why it pays to have a white husband. I get it now.
You know, let me go here. There's a growing concern.
How NBC News gonna sit up here and lie, talking about she was the darling of conservative YouTube? Ain't nobody was checking for her. What? Who was checking for her? Nobody was even watching her stuff. What is this rabbit hole you sending me down, GDS? Don't send me down this rabbit hole. I ain't gonna like what I find. He looks creepy. Let me make sure this is the same guy. Is he a pornographic actor, photographer, and director? Is that who you're talking about? Don't send me down no rabbit holes that I ain't supposed to be down. But how is she the darling of the conservative YouTube? What? Who was checking for her? See, even he said it. This was before the scamdemic. Nobody cared after the scamdemic. MAGA talk show host who went nuclear on MAGA. Oh, okay. I just want to make sure, because don't send me down no porno rabbit hole. I don't want to do that. Let me see. He ain't coming up. Wait, maybe this is this satirical politician. Oh Jesus. Oh, he's a comedian. Uh-oh. Okay, you send me down a rabbit hole. All right. Let's see. Oh Jesus Christ. He sent me down a rabbit hole. Let me look this guy up, and I'm getting out of here. Maybe he might be worth something to look into. Oh, how this motherfucking thing? Okay, let's see. All right, you know what? Let's look up MAGA. MAGA dumb, so I mean it's not hard to go nuclear on him. Maybe I'll do. You mean this guy, Eric Erickson? Maybe you had the wrong name. All right, I'll look at this rabbit hole. But let me get out of here. By the way, before we go, one more time.
Interview where Dana Bash says, the police have gone through 11 months of recordings of calls, and they've only found 2 Springfield residents calling to complain about Haitian migrants taking.
Now, I'm very good at English, and I'm pretty sure that migrant doesn't have 2 G's in it. But yeah. There you go, family. MAGA. Fun time. Anyway, I'm hungry. Anyway, I'm leaving. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, I've done my job. If not, I'll try to be better next time. Look at my light. Look at my light. That's sexy, ain't it? Come on, y'all heard. I played it back about 14 times. You heard him say it. When he with his friend, he be like this here.
What the fuck is wrong with this nigga? That's your man. That's your man.
Yeah. They love saying the N-word.
Okay. You did it though. You okay, that was you though. I didn't do nothing. I heard it. They heard it too. Okay, I'm sorry.
But anyway, hopefully you learned something. If you did, I done my job. If not, I try to be better next time. I will see you in the morning. I'm not sure what time yet. Maybe like 11. We're gonna go over that Candace Owens pissing off white conservatives piece. And beautiful. Anyway, y'all take care, stay safe, and you know what to do when the agents of chaos come to mess up your existence. And yes, I know that name Stephen A. Fatlock is still there. I know. I ain't even see it to change it. I could care less. We had stuff to do. We had stuff to review. There, I changed it back. Now leave me alone and go to sleep.
Wait around. Yep. Start, yeet, and get out. Time's up.
But did we have a good time here? Hello?
At the end of the day gotta end.
Get your money up, not your funny up. Big fucking move.
That's it.